canine curse. The 4,000-year-old bioweapon we mistook for magic.
The curse never died. By the breath of the Nine, the earth shall tremble.
Hollywood has sold us a lie, a beautiful, terrifying lie. When you think of the Pharaoh's curse, you think of magic. You picture sandstorms swirling into the shape of a face. You picture mummies rising from sarcophagi, their hands like claws, their voices a dry whisper.
By the breath of the Nine, the earth shall tremble.
You picture a dark, ancient sorcery. And when you think of the guardian of that curse, you picture him, Anubis, the dog-headed god, the canine of the underworld, unleashing this magic on anyone who dares disturb the tomb. But what if I told you the curse is real, and that it has nothing to do with magic, and everything to do with science? This is the story of how the ancient Egyptians, in their obsessive quest for order, accidentally created the world's most terrifying biological weapon, and how Anubis wasn't the sorcerer. He was the chief bioengineer. The mystery begins in 1922 with the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb. The world celebrated, but then the deaths began. First, the expedition's financier, Lord Carnarvon. He died suddenly from a mysterious illness, a fever, a lung infection that spiraled into blood poisoning. Then, another visitor died of a similar fever, another from respiratory failure. The media called it the curse of the pharaohs. And for 100 years, the world has believed it was a supernatural warning. That is the setup. Here is the hack. The curse is real, but it is not a spell. It is a microbe. To understand this, you must understand Anubis. We think of him as a god of death. This is wrong. Anubis was the god of embalming. He was the patron god of chemistry, precision, and preservation. His entire job was to create the perfect environment for eternity. And to do that, he had two requirements. First, the body had to be preserved, surrounded by organic matter for the afterlife. Food, wine, oils, flowers, grains. Second, the tomb had to be perfectly, hermetically sealed. And right there, Anubis had just written the recipe for a biological time bomb. Think about it. What happens when you take a dark, unventilated, sealed box? You fill it with organic matter, and you leave it for 3,000 years. It doesn't become haunted. It becomes toxic. Modern science has a name for what was waiting inside those tombs. Aspergillus, a family of hypertoxic ancient molds. These microbes, trapped in the dark, feeding on the royal offerings for millennia, mutated into strains of incredible virulence. They are not ghosts, they are spores, billions of them, covering every surface, invisible to the naked eye. The tomb of Tutankhamun was not a holy site. It was a 3,000-year-old weaponized petri dish. Now picture the moment Howard Carter broke the seal. The sound wasn't a ghostly whisper. It was the hiss of 3,000-year-old pressurized air escaping. Air that was not cursed. It was aerosolized. The first breath that Lord Carnarvon took inside that tomb was a massive, concentrated dose of ancient, toxic mold spores. Let's look at his death again. A high fever, difficulty breathing, a lung infection that became systemic. Those are not the symptoms of a magic curse. Those are the textbook symptoms of severe acute aspergillosis. The mold spores entered his lungs, took root, and consumed him from the inside out. The curse didn't need magic. It had biology. And this is the final hack. This brings us back to the canine, Anubis. The jackal, or wild dog, was deified by the Egyptians because they saw it prowling the edges of the desert, thriving on decay. They didn't just fear decay, they respected it. They understood its power. Anubis wasn't a magical guardian standing outside the tomb. He was the tomb. His true role was that of a divine biohazard sign. The act of mummification, the sealing of the tomb, was the curse. The priests of Anubis, in their quest to preserve one body, had weaponized the very air around it. Anubis wasn't the god who killed you with a spell. He was the god who created the invisible poison that would. The canine wasn't warning us about ghosts. He was warning us about the air itself. The curse of the pharaohs is real. It's just not magic. It's science. And that is far more terrifying.